Wait, hang on. My Discord's turned down. Hello? Hi. I can hear you. When I usually do it, sometimes I have it on, sometimes I don't. If it's like the first time I do it, I have it, but if every week it gets repetitive, otherwise I'll just mute it. Let me open it and then close it again. Right click on the music, then go on to... Oh no, the free. Did you see the three dots by the music? Yeah. Go on to advanced audio properties. Find the music again, and we'll go where it says audio monitoring, and then it should be monitor and output, and then you should be able to hear music. No? Oh, all right, okay. That's weird. Hold on. I need to actually get the link. Are my levels all right at the moment? Okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear it. Sweet. Ben, where's my invite? It would help if I was on the game. No. Because I'm only doing like this one and race through. So there's no point me being in the group. Oh, it's cosplay, is it? Alright, okay. Danke. No, I don't want to hear the game music. That can go away. There we go. That's muted. And who's in for that other guy? Alright, okay. Oh, wait, I got wrong order. Shit. Um... So I'm just writing the quality orders down so then I don't have to have the image on again. There we go. Have I got the spreadsheet open? Yes, I do. There is... Yeah, I'm good to go live. Well, I'm good for you to go live. I'm not used to saying that, bloody hell. You'll be fine. Alright.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to a new venture. My name is Gareth Hall, and I will be your commentator throughout this evening, and hopefully for the majority of the season. And welcome to Vetalo Endurance Championship, a brand new, unique, and very exciting format that has been thought up by a couple of people within the likes of the ART Esports team. It's a brainchild, I believe, of Declan Acornley and Jake O'Sullivan, Ben Harrett, another one as well, getting involved in that. But welcome everyone. Hope you do enjoy it. And yes, you are joining me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box here, a former Fab Racing Mini Bike British Talent Cup commentator, and it's an all-star studded cast in the commentary box tonight. I'm joined by head of PSGL, head of One Hub Racing commentary, and Formula Student commentator, Jess Ball. Good evening, Jess.
Good evening, Gareth. I'm very excited for this. It's great to see that the likes of Jay, Ben and Deck have come up with this idea as well. And it's going to be a great season. 100% races all throughout as well. And it's not a driver's event. It is a team event. 5 different teams full of drivers. I can't wait.
Absolutely so. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try and run you through everything that's happening. But if you are watching along, this is a bit of a trial run. So if you hear anything that you want to get changed, or if you think we need to change our levels, sound, or any of that sort of stuff, just drop into the comments and let us know. But as Jess was saying, 6 different rounds over, not just a season throughout the next couple of weeks. It will be over 2024, which will take us 3 rounds through this game, the 2023 version, and 3 rounds onto the 2024 version. So plenty of racing. However, you're going to have to get yourself wound up for those sort of 2-month stints in between either way. But first race up of the season, we are heading over to Shanghai in China. Chinese Grand Prix, a track that's quite rarely raced actually by New League, due to the fact that it's not actually it's making its return to the F1 calendar this season, coming up. First designed back in 2004, 5.45-kilometre long circuit. We will be competing 100% distance tonight. So we're going all the way. These guys, it's an endurance championship, so it's no 50% races, no 25% races, no. It is the full whack, so tyre temps, and very much looking after your engine when it comes to all sorts, when it comes to gearbox. Of course, by the end of the 100%, you can get your rates of damage up higher by overshifting or undershifting through some of the corners. So watch out for that later on in the evening. And what's coming up later on in this evening? Well, you can join us on March the 18th for Qatar, then May 20th, Abu Dhabi and the United Arab Emirates. That will round out the F1 23, and then over on F1 24. September 2nd, we'll be heading to Austria. October 28th, over to the Temple of Speed in Monza, and December 16th, the final race of this first initial calendar, will be in Silverstone in the United Kingdom. Now, it is a team sport, Jess, isn't it? Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how the teams work?
Yes, indeed. There is pretty much, they've got a roster of drivers that they can use throughout the entirety of the season. They don't have to use all of them in one go, of course. They must run at least, I believe, 4 different drivers 3 or 4 different drivers per event. And there's 5 different teams. We got the likes of Team Speed, we got ERT as well, the two esports teams, but we got the likes of ALR, JOR as well, and the Orange Arrows, which I love that name, to be honest. And they each have different qualifying slots. So one team will be going out first in the next 5 minutes or so. Then it'll be another team and then another team after that. So first, I believe, going out will be the ERT boys. They can go at any time they want during that slot. They can do as many runs as they want in that slot. But as soon as the clock ends in that slot, then it's over to the other team.
Qualifying does count for points, so the fastest team overall get 10 points, second 7, third 4, fourth 2, and the slowest team get 1 point added to their championship tally. So it's not just a race where you find points and prizes being decided, it will also be during qualifying. And just to let you all know, there is on screen for you clear weather, reduced safety car to let these guys roll out a little bit better, reduced damage as well, strict track limits, so these guys will all be running to the normal track limits. It will be here on Monday night at 8 PM. It's a short qualifying session as usual, the 18-minute long session for the 100% race distance. Now out on circuit for the next 3 minutes, so probably enough time to do a lap or two, maybe even 3 if you've got out straight away. Are the ERT boys who are running almost, as we've seen today, the new Williams style livery.
Yeah, it kind of looks quite similar in a way to what we saw with the Williams car. I actually like the Williams car, to be fair, but we got 4 drivers who are representing ERT tonight. Again, they can swap and change throughout the season. We've got ERT Casper. We've got ERT Nathan Samba, who just came off the back of a One Hub win last night. We've got Waitsy. And, of course, we've got Owen Wyatt in there as well. So those are the 4 drivers representing ERT tonight. And it's all about trying to get as many points as you can for the team. All 4 drivers have been in top tier racing before. Quite a few we've commentated on before too. So all 4 familiar names. So we don't have to look at the facts too much because we know most of them.
Yes, that's true. And but it's of course, if you're new here, you'll know that there are a couple of drivers you may have seen before. Some that you may be familiar from some other leagues around. So I'm sure you'll be able to pick and choose your favourites as the season goes on. But it is the elite racing team guys out there. We've got Nathan, Casper, of course, we've got Waitsy, and as you said, Owen on circuit, who's of course elects to race without his ERT heading, which makes it nice and easy for the commentators to pick him out as he's on circuit. But it will be Nathan Samba, ERT Samba, to set the first flying lap as he's out there actually following behind. I believe it might be Waitsy that's just started his flying lap as well. So these guys all out on circuit, they get to set a lap time in the next minute or so. So it gives them the time to come in and get that one sorted. But Casper out on circuit. Of course, the Finn, who's been successful in multiple different series that he's raced in across multiple leagues. We've seen him, of course, successful over in Jacko Car, one of them, VSL, another one which you can see on Wednesday night. So Casper, no stranger to the podium. Equally, Nathan, who we've seen on the top step in multiple leagues. Owen, who wishes he was on the top step in multiple leagues. And Waitsy, who is often competitive with yourself commentating on a Wednesday night over in VSL.
Yeah, so they're all competitive drivers, but we'll see who's going to come out top in all of them as well. They want to pretty much be near the top, all of them. They've got to produce the best lap times they possibly can, so they may help each other. And they've only got 1 lap to do it, so it's kind of like Jacko Car in a way, except that you can go. You only got like a dedicated time stop. You can go out any time of that. That's it. If you invalidate, then that's pretty much it. As we've got Waits, who just came across the line to finish his lap with a 1:31.4. We've got Samba, who's up to the line as well. He goes with a 1:30.2. Now that's a time to beat. And then Casper goes up to the line. What's he going to do? It's going to be a 1:31, I think. Yeah, 1:31.4. And then there'll be the last ERT driver, Owen, to cross the line. And he goes P2. Pretty much the same pace, apart from Samba, who's about a second ahead of everyone.
So a nice grouping of times there from some second, third and fourth, as they all do a time within 2/10 of each other. But well out in front is Samba, a second ahead of Owen. So putting down a marker very much in the early stages of this one for everyone else to follow. And well, now it's time for my boys to shine. And we're heading over to Team Speed Esports and Ben Shaw, who's kicking the rear end out the car. He's only on his outlap at the moment as he's trying to get some tyre temps over in this livery that was run in the 24 Hours of F1, of course, the annual event that's run the last weekend before Christmas every year, which is did fantastically well last year, and everyone always enjoys that one. The Speed guys all got involved in that one, came home in an admirable, I think it was 13th position overall, which everyone was very pleased about. A little bit tired by the end of it, but Ben out there. We've got Sullivan Lewis, of course, otherwise known as Speed Risky 37. We've got Pete Knighton. Watch out for him to be spinning this evening. And also out there we have Kieran Spears, who, of course, is a former Jacko Car Cup Series champion. The likes of Ben Shaw as well, who took the championship last season there on the holding it and overtaking Casper. In fact, it was on the final lap of the race to take that inaugural championship for himself. So as the ERT guys make their way in, we have now got the Speed guys about to start their laps, and just trying to find out who's the lead of all this pack. I think it might be Is it Risky that's actually on his flying lap? It is Risky that's on his flying lap. So we'll stick with Risky. And Jess, as Risky doesn't stick to the track, but Jess, you've commentated on all the Speed guys for multiple years. Tell us a little bit more about the team.
Well, they have been a part of many leagues, such as, I think, obviously, Jacko Kart. 3 out of the 4 are Jacko Kart champions, of course. A few people being in TGP as well. And I've met a few of them at a go-karting event as well. And yeah, there's some interesting drivers in that lineup as well. Risky haven't won a title yet, but surely he would win one very soon, as Risky's going to be the driver who's going to be the first driver to cross the line, to see how he can manage. Don't forget, this was the track where we saw Pete Knighton won his first ever Jacko Kart title, the very first Jacko Kart Cup Series title. So it's a track that he knows all too well. Speed Knighton up to the line in 6th position. And I think, is it Ben Shaw? No, it is Ben Shaw that's going to be up next to finish his lap.
Yes, it is. As it was actually Ben and Kieran giving toes to Risky and Pete. Somehow Risky's lap was valid, even though we're running on strict. He took the NASCAR line through the final corner, well, actually through most of the lap. So these guys that have moved over from Jacko Kart to race here are clearly bringing over that Jacko Kart spirit. But Kieran up there and Ben Shaw about to finish his lap. What can he do? It's going to be about a 31.6. It is a 31.6. Puts him provisionally into P5. Around about, 9/10 of a second faster than teammate Risky. And what can Kieran do is he is going to get, by the looks of it, if you look at the 2 white dots on your minimap, which I have located for you in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you'll be able to see Kieran is going to get himself a healthy dose of slipstream down this mile-long back straight, the longest true straight in F1. As we head down here, and there we go, perfectly done by the Speed guys as Kieran's getting the draft from 1, gets a semi-draft from the car in front, pulls to the outside. Can he get it slowed down in time? Yes, he can. Hits his markers, hits the apex, rolls out, doesn't kick the rear end of the car out, which is very nice indeed. Now, it's all about keeping it within the white lines at the final corner. Yes, he does. Up to the line, Kieran, what can he do? It's a 1:31.839, so not as fast as Ben, even with the toe.
No, so Ben, of course, being the fastest of the Team Speed Boys, as now they're going on their in-laps. The next team that is going out, I'll just get my notes quickly, and I know it's Jake's team that is going out, and it is JOR who's going to be the next team, and he's got the likes of F1 Killer 007, Ed Berwick, who I think was called last minute to race, I believe, as someone couldn't make it, unfortunately. And there was someone else that was meant to be here, but he hasn't turned up yet. So hopefully he can turn up very, very soon.
Yes, as Jake O'Sullivan, of course, champion in Jacko Kart, multiple-time race winner over there, and former driver in the British Universities Karting Championships. And he's getting a bit old for it now. He likes to claim that he can still race in it, but no, he's an old man now. So former racer on the big small tracks, we'll say, as Jake out there. I am aware, by the way, that I've got no game sound for the cars driving around, so I will just quickly see if I can rectify that with some audio settings, but hopefully that will get sorted very, very quickly, because I know it's in my ear, but nope, still not getting any engine sounds. I've got some nice authentic background sound, but not any engine sounds. But we persevere. But Jake out on circuit, and what can he do is you can see the 3 red dots out on circuit. They're now being joined by the orange arrows, who will be making their out lap. Of course, these guys will all change around, so the qualifying slots will change as the season progresses, so not everyone will be coming out at the same time every single race, I'm sure, or will be changing around. But we are here in China, 56 laps of this Shanghai circuit. The circuit itself was designed based off the character for Shang in Chinese, the Shang Dynasty, a former version of royalty in China in the medieval era. There's Jake up to the line. Is it a competitive time? Looking at about 31. It's a 31.735. Puts himself between Ben Shaw and Kieran Spears, but no one touching Samba's time of a 30.2.
No, not at all. And I believe F1 Killer is on a lap as well as Ed Burke. I don't have any information about Ed, unfortunately, but I do have something about F1 Killer, who's known as Lewis Kerrod, of course. He was the JOR Season 4 champion and Season 5 champion. He was karting for Loughborough University as well. So I'm guessing they're good friends in that league when they used to race there. So F1 Killer, he's heading towards turn 13. Now, this is going to be interesting, this track. Would you compromise downforce or would you compromise straight line speed around this track? You've got to get the good balance in order to make sure you can get the car pointed in the right direction. As Ed Berrick just finished his lap, as he's going towards the back straight, goes F1 Killer at the moment. Can he add multiple championships and team championships to his name by doing well here tonight? I believe he was purple sector 1, couldn't see his sector 2 time. As he goes up to the line with DRS enabled, what's it going to be? A 132.4 for F1 Killer. And I think that is it for JOR. We'll now move on to the next team.
Yep, Team Orange Arrows out on circuit now, and the guys that have been brought together with the likes of Ryan Berry, my old adversary, on a Wednesday night. We've got him out on the circuit. He's joining his friend Declan Akeley, who is, of course, the brainchild of this league, making his way down the back straight on his flying lap. So he's making his way down towards the corner, and Deck actually, hopefully, maintaining that the fact this is the first season that he is running with a wheel. So I'm hoping that's the case, and he is still practicing because I told him to persevere with it. He will get quicker. It's going to be a 32.863, which is P11 so far, but still a respectable time for Deck to be sitting there, not too far off the back of the pack as T-Crix goes into provisional P10 with a 32.7. We've got Ben Harrett, of course, a three-time race winner in the Jackal Cup Series. A man that made the Championship 5, but it's only a 33.3 for him. So that leaves it up to Ryan Berry. What can he do? Up to the line for Ryan, and it's a 33.275. So the Orange Arrows almost locking up towards the back of the grid, only being split by Pete and, of course, Ed Berrick. Slowest of all so far. We do now have our 20th driver as 2401, which I will quickly check over.
Ollie Evans.
Ollie Evans joins us. So you will have to bear with me for the first few races. There is a couple of new usernames for me, so I will be getting used to them as we're going on. So we now move over to the final guys out on circuit for their qualifying laps, and it is ALR.
Yes, ALR, which is Robin Leyland, which is Robin de Boss Robo. Of course, we've got Michael Okeke. I've commentated on him many times and raced him many times on a Sunday and a Tuesday night. We've got Scalav, which is Giannis Scalavantis. Apologies if I pronounce this wrong. Jamie Griffiths was meant to race tonight, but he's not here tonight. He can't make it. So as a last-minute replacement, Jay asked if any of the Cup Series drivers want to race tonight, and Quinn volunteered, and there he is. He's racing for ALR tonight. Multiple leads. We've got the likes of Jackakar, One Hub, PSGL, ALR, of course, VGR Esports, GFO, GOF1, F1, Ancient. I can't even pronounce these leagues anyway, but multiple leagues separated between all the drivers, of course, and they're going to be the last driver to see if they can beat any of the ERT times. It's going to be a tall order, but I don't know about the other drivers' pace apart from Quinn and Okeke, so we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, and it's Okeke is the elder statesman in this one. Just looking through, because we have actually got all of your ages, so I can see if you're upwards of the ages of myself. But we've got 26-year-old Michael Okeke, the first ever race winner in the Cup Series in Jacko car. On his Joker, I think it was as well. If you tune in on a Thursday night, you'll understand a little bit more about that. Well, we've also got the perennial runner-up in Jacko car Gear Series. It's Danny Quinn on his flying lap. He's the first one around onto the shoehorn. Me making his way round the snail onto the back straight where the DRS will get opened, and he'll get a nice dose of DRS plus a little bit of a slipstream from a perfectly placed teammate in the AR, black and green in front of him, down towards the hairpin, getting on the breakers, slamming right down. He hits the apex very nicely indeed for Quinn. And Quinn, who's actually picked up the pace a little bit more consistently has been in the last few seasons, definitely deserves his move up to the Champions Car Cup Series, moving up from the second tier in tier series. He goes a very impressive P8 for 32 flat. Now, what do we see from the guys behind? We've got Robin has gone with 34.0, and that is up to both Yanis and OKK Michael, who are starting their flying laps to complete the final two cars.
Yes, we've got OKK is going to be the last driver to set a lap time, whereas Sklav is going to be the next one to set a lap time. He's running a direct drive wheel as well. I tried a direct drive wheel. It's absolutely lovely, but it's very difficult, and you don't want to let go of the steering wheel because you could hurt your hand, of course. He is the VGL Elite Champion, 5th best driver in Greece for the F1 22 game. Now that is interesting. I like that fact, to be honest. And he karts for fun as well. He doesn't really get involved in karting championships compared to everyone else. And he has a Greek F1 YouTube channel with almost 2K subscribers, which is more than what I've got, and it's definitely more than what Gav's got, as he goes up to the line in P7. And last up to the line is Michael OKK, who we just talked about, as he goes towards the back straight.
Yeah, his slipstream's a little bit further up ahead. Sorry, Corey's just told me I'm a little bit quiet. Hopefully that's a little bit louder. I tried to turn it up, but we'll see if that works or not. I'll even bring the microphone closer to my face. It's the only thing left to upgrade, unfortunately, in my setup, as OKK gets his toe into the hairpin, runs a little bit close to the apex, and that's going to compromise exit. But up to the final corner, pardon me, and round the final corner goes Michael up to the line. What's going to be? It's going to be a 35.279. That is 19th out of 20 runners. However, that does mean we've got all 20 cars on the grid ready for this 100% race coming up very shortly. A really impressive lap there from ERT Samba. Jess, a second faster than anyone else.
Yeah, 130.2, whereas the other fast guys are in the 131s, 132s. I think from pretty much second to 15th, second to 14th, they're all pretty close. And we can safely say who is the fastest team in qualifying, because they've locked the front two rows in qualifying, so that's easy to figure out. But the other teams will have to wait until, obviously, the end of the stream to figure it out. So ERT is going to be getting maximum points and going to be, at the moment, leading the championship.
Yep, and they'll be delighted with that, I'm sure. And it is ERT Samba that takes pole position, with 30.284, is fastest of all, ahead of OMY at 31.226. 0.942 of a second slower. Casper and Waitsy are your second row of the grid, making it, as Jess was saying, an all ERT second row on the grid. Ben Short for Team Speed in P5, alongside long-time rival Jake O'Sullivan in P6. Then we've got Giannis Skanavenis in P7, Kieran Spears P8. Great qualifying session there for Danny Quinn in P9. And we have got F1 killer Lewis Kerrod in P10. Plenty of drivers outside of the top 10, with plenty still to race for. Of course, it's a 100% race, and a new format, which means that it incentivizes finishing. It's an endurance championship. You want to get to the end. Points for all positions, and these guys need to focus on race pace and just getting to the flag, working with each other. If someone's a little bit quicker, maybe let them go. Maybe we'll see a little bit of bunny hopping between cars as they use each other to tow each other along. Occasional overtakes here and there, seeing who's faster. It's going to be very, very tactical, but it definitely looks as though ERT, the team to beat in the early stages of this one.
Yes, and every team member that finishes this race, they get an additional 10 points added to their tally, which, again, incentivises the drivers. If you win the race, you get 20 points towards your team, 19th, 18th, all the way down to 1. And if you DNF, you get 0 points. So I think if you retire in the pits, that's not going to look very good for your team. So try and finish as high as you can. But again, it's not about your personal pride. It's about the team pride. So if your team wants to do well today, you've got to start providing some team tactics, as Gareth was saying, around this track, which it is quite an interesting track in terms of tyre wear. The softs don't last a bit. No, softs don't last at all around this track on the 50% race. 100% race could be different. I think it lasts about 14 laps, I believe, but the tyre temps could be absolutely huge. So what do I think for a mixture of strategies for this one? I expect to see, I think, multiple strategies per team. I don't think we're going to see one team go for the same strategy. We may see some faster drivers going for the quickest tyre to start with, and then maybe the slower drivers going for like the hard tyres just to hold everyone up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, as the cars leave for their formation lap, and there is your 20-car grid here as all cars in their team liveries, and it is very ominous blue-looking front two rows of the grid of ERT Samba, White, ERT Casper, ERT Waitsy, your first four. Then we've got Ben Shaw of Team Speed, Jake O'Sullivan there in P6. He will be following Ben and towing the line, hoping to take JOR a little bit further into the points. Yannis Skoliventis in P7 with Kieran Spears for Team Speed in P8. Danny Quinn P9 for ALR, and it's F1 Killer 007 in P10. Then we've got Sullivan Lewis Speed Risky in P11 with T-Prix in P12. And of course that's Mercury Weimar in P12. Pete Knighton, Declan Acornley, Ryan Berry, Ben Harritt, and then we've got Robin Leyland, Ed Berwick, Michael Okeke and Ollie Evans rounding out the grid. Of course, Ollie unable to make qualifying, so we'll be charging through the field, I'm sure, as we now will give you a slight taste of what it's going to be in terms of strategy. It's mediums for all of ERT, mediums looking as though for Ben Shaw, but it's, as you said, Jess, team splitting strategy, as it looks as though both Risky and Kieran have gone for the soft tyres, whereas Pete and Ben going for the mediums. We've got the team orange arrows. It looks as though all but Ben Harritt have gone for the mediums. Ben Harritt's on the softs, and then JOR. Looks as though the majority are all going on the softs, apart from Ed Berwick, who started on the mediums.
Yeah, so we have got mixed strategy per team, but I'm not surprised to see ERT going for the same strategy. If you're a similar pace, why not? Because you're going to be able to give each other a tow on the back straight, for example, and use each other wisely as guinea pigs for the race, whereas some people, if they want to try and climb up as quickly as possible, try and hold the other team up to make sure they don't score as many points as they possibly can as well. I want to see how Ollie does. Obviously, he hasn't had a chance to race against these guys yet, so he hasn't had qualifying, so this is going to be his first taste of what's to come. 56 lap ahead of our drivers. I'll hand it to you for the start.
Well, we're getting ready here. First ever race here in Vetalo. It's already a drive-through penalty for a jump start back there for Robin Leyland, but it is Samba that gets us away. Owen White, however, with the better start on the inside. Can he pull to the inside? It's going to be teammate battle into turn one as Owen takes the lead of the race ahead of Samba, but Samba's got the opportunity to come back at him. There's no point fighting. Of course, these two have locked out the front two rows of the grid, so ERT can now just work with each other to break away, but it's a great start from ERT behind. Waitsy is trying to hold off Jake, who's got ahead of Ben Shaw. Ben Shaw already dropping down 2 positions down to P7. Jake on those soft tyres making use of it, whilst Waitsy and Casper fight away with each other. They just going to get into lockstep now and just block the charging Jake, because you've got to think that Jake O'Sullivan on these soft tyres is going to want to make some moves very early on, as Casper gets a little bit out of shape there, blocking Waitsy, and Jake having to sit behind, bide his time. He's going to have a little bit more bite in these tyres to start with, but it's all about figuring out the right place to start and make an attack. He's going to want to use the tyres whilst they're freshest, but of course forcing something so early on into 100% race is a really poor thing to do. But as Waitsy gets a little bit of a tank slap on the exit of the snail, and that's going to open up the door here for Jake to move onto the inside line. Surely does Waitsy. You can see Waitsy using a little bit of battery just to pull up alongside. He's going to make Jake work for this one, but Jake has the inside line. Should be able to pull to the inside, take the apex, and takes P4 on circuit. So we'll end with a position changed in the top 4. It was all locked out by ERT, but it's Jake O'Sullivan, biggest mover behind Ben Shaw, still dropped down to 7th position. Quinn in 8th, Kieran Spears in P9, and Speed Titan moving up to P10.
Yes, indeed. So Jake O'Sullivan doing well to start on the soft tyres because he was able to capitalise on the likes of Waitsy, who's dropped down behind, of course. But biggest gainer was Speed Knighton and a KK as well, who's gained 3 places. Robin had to serve his drive-through, so he's coming into the pits. A bit unfortunate for ALR to lose one of their boys to near the back of the grid, but maybe he can use the strategy to full potential, as we got Quinn and Ben Shaw fighting in towards turn number 6, and Quinn dropped a little bit from his teammate for tonight, which is going to be bad news for him. Good news for the Team Speed boys who are looking to chase Quinn down. They're all footballing line astern in that DRS train, which will come soon in lap 3. And Pete has gained quite a lot in the process, and we already lost one driver already. That unfortunately is Micah KK. I don't know where he's lost it actually, but VSC, Gareth.
Yeah, we've got OKK and it looks as though Robin have tangled. Robin now dropping to the back without any damage, of course reduced damage, so it might have just been wheel-to-wheel contact, unfortunately putting Michael into the wall. But VSC out, so the race neutralised, but of course these guys not under the safety car just yet. It looks as though we might be just going through a VSC period. Lap 2 of 56, and we'll be going green shortly, I'm sure, as Owen having to watch that throttle input. The last thing you want to do is get yourself a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC, and yeah, just going back to that overtake that we saw as Casper is in. Oh, it's Samba coming into the pit lane for a very early stop. So getting off with the medium tyres under the VSC. Of course, it's a free pit stop, but of course, for 100% race, that's a very, very early call to make to change that strategy. Will be interesting to see if it is a set of hards. I was thinking maybe it's a set of hards, and Robin gets a speeding penalty under the VSC, so his lap goes from bad to worse after, I believe, getting tangled up with Michael O'Kk. He now finds himself having to make a drive-through penalty at the end of this lap. But yeah, just going back to Danny Quinn, he'll be very happy. I'm sure he'll be delighted, smiling away like the Cheshire Cat under that helmet, having passed former, what you'd say, team leader in Ben Shaw, when Danny Quinn, of course, was formerly Speed Quinn, now over as I'm Bad at F1 Quinn. That have been a bit of a journeyman across some of the esports teams over the last year or so, but getting a nice move done on Ben, who is self-admittedly a little bit ropey on the game, having not really played it over the Christmas period. And these guys all filtering into position, and you think the race has calmed down a little bit as everyone kind of filters into position and gets into the groove, ready for a long race.
Just you wait for team rivalries to come into play against the likes of obviously ALR and Team Speed. They're pretty much line astern, heading between each other as well. So I think we could see into team battling if you're not careful. And there's some locking on the brakes in between Scalab and Waitsy. Now on the console, it's hard to see going out of that corner because of the tyre smoke. So imagine, I think some people would go off there, but Waitsy is back up into 4th position, whereas Scalab almost had a look past Waitsy there and towards turn number 1, but couldn't quite pass it. And Quinn's not that far behind as well, but Ben Shaw is right on the back of him once again, heading towards turn 2 and turn 3. So I think Ben has just saved a little bit of his tyre life, more than I've seen Quinn do in the last few laps, which I think is very smart of Ben to do right now as he heads towards turn number 6. He's got plenty of battery as well, so has Quinn, so those guys haven't used that much battery yet, because otherwise you're not going to have enough left to last for the end of the race. I think you only gain about 80% ERS in a pit stop, so if you use too much in the first few laps, you're not going to have enough to last for the whole race.
No, it's a very, very right of you to point out, as these guys having to play a little bit more tactical. A lot of these guys used to that 50% race distance, and of course now battery becomes doubly as important, especially in a track around China where you do tend to dump it a little bit down the back straight, and you're going to have to think about recovery in the first and second sectors to give yourself a little bit of leeway when it comes to not only attacking but also defending from some drivers around you. As Ventures still trying to close in on Quinn, as we've got Waitsy and Slab changing position once again. So Slab back up to P4, gets it slowed down just in time. Waitsy almost tagging the rear right tyre of the car in front, but gets away with it. Waitsy up to the final corner as Casper fastest lap of the race. He beats Ryan Berry's time set in the last lap to 1:36.129, but you can tell Owen and Casper already starting to. In fact, they're dragging Jake along with them, of course, on that soft rubber, but breaking away 2 seconds from the Jake.
Yes, and 2.7 roughly per lap you gain on the soft compounded tyres. You lose a bit of tyre wear from that as well. So I can imagine that maybe after lap 10, that's when the softs will start to die, and they're 100% race as well. I am used to the likes of Owen and Casper fighting nose to tail with each other. I've seen it in many leagues. I've seen it quite a lot last season when I was watching the Cup Series in Jacko Kart. They've done it many times in One Hub as well. Well, they don't race in VSL, so they don't do it at VSL, of course, but they are in the party together and thinking tactics as to what they're going to do next to try and keep Jake O'Sullivan behind. And maybe what Owen's trying to do is to give Casper some DRS to make sure Jake doesn't have a sniff of any of these two. But we know what Jake is like. He's been very competitive on this game. Casper and Jake have been rivals, I think, since day dawn. As Pete gets past Kieran on those mediums, I think it was a tactic move there.
Yeah, it's whether or not that's the softs already starting to fall away a little bit, because as you say, Pete jumping ahead of Kieran, who was starting on the soft tyres. Kieran getting a much nicer line, tidier line into the hairpin at the end of the straight, where the cars will hit a max speed of 216 miles an hour. 348 if you work in kph, as they now approach down towards turn 1. That's a snail-like section that some love, some hate. It just tends to go on forever as you scrub off speed with every metre of right hand down you go. That turns into a flick left, back on the power. Very easy to spin the tyres up and get this one wrong. We've seen cars end up in the gravel or end up in the wall on the right and the left hand side, and there's been some pretty tasty crashes there in the past in several leagues. But well, we've still got the two ERT guys leading away, Owen White, Casper, but it is still Jake O'Sullivan who is sitting on the gearbox of Casper. Something that we see frequently over in Jacko Car with these guys battling away. Owen White, of course, the long-time commentator and sufferer of watching the Cup Series. He's gone in for a couple of races. He likes to claim he's got a race win. We all know that it didn't really count. But Risky now drops down behind Prix into 12th position, and onto the back straight they go. The longest flat out section here is 1,300 metres, 1,397, almost 1,400 metres, and Jake O'Sullivan is about to go down the inside of Casper. He's got on the button. Can he get it slowed down? He hasn't. He's tagged the back end of Owen, and he's just going to get away with it. And I think for Jake, reduced damage has saved him from perhaps a trip to the pit lane for a new front wing, because come any other league, I think he'd find himself not only in trouble with the stewards, but in trouble with his own team or pit crew for coming in possibly from who knows where.
I'm almost certain with simulation damage in Jacko Car, you definitely would have to change a front wing. There's Waitsy having a ding-dong battle with Scalab in towards turn number 2 and number 3. Nicely done from him as he tries to make his way back up the field to try and catch up to the likes of Casper as well. Casper and Owen definitely need more of their ERT mates to help them out a little bit, but they do have Samba, who has just pitted, that maybe could use him just to hold everyone else in the background as well. He is catching quite closely to the likes of Deck and Ryan Berry behind, as well as T-Quicks and Ben Harrett, so maybe you can use that tactic nonetheless as well. I think apart from the likes of Jake O'Sullivan, who's doing absolutely incredible on those soft tyres, we're starting to see everyone else's soft tyres, I think, start to wear off a bit. The ones on the mediums, I think, are catching up like no tomorrow. We've got the likes of T-Crits catching up to Ben Harrett. We've got the likes of, we got Casper still in the toe of Cajman, but I don't think he's going to be able to close up a little bit. But saying that, I've been proved wrong, as Kieran has passed Speed 19 again race. I wonder if he was saving a bit of his tyre life there. I'm watching Speed Knighton's battery and it's on 11%, but Owen Wyatt and Jake having a ding-dong battle again for the lead.
Yep, trying to change positions. Owen defends it this time. He's decided to just cut Jake off when he was going for the move. Nice little defensive position there for Owen. He's going to make Jake work for this one, but Jake is really burning for his battery. We've got a yellow flag, localised yellow there for Robin in sector 1 as, it's sector 2, sorry, as Jake does go down the inside of Owen. Owen's going to try and fight this one. He knows that he can still hold the inside line for the left-hander, does do so. Very nice driving from the pair of them. Who gets the better exit? Jake on the older softs, of course. Owen on the mediums will have nicer tyre life, but Jake has the inside line and comes across to take the effective race lead. As we just give you the gaps here, because I was on the leader gap, because it's 17 seconds for a pit stop around here, and Samba, after making that stop onto the hard tyres very early on, he's already got himself up into 17.5, so he is effectively right on the button. If these guys pit within the next lap or so, or perhaps within the next few laps, he will come out almost line astern with where Samba is on the hard tyres. So it's a great few laps on the outlap for Samba on those hard tyres.
Ben's had a bit of a spin on the exit of turn 10. I think he just clipped the curb there on the inside, and that is very easy to do on this game. I've done that many a times, and he's dropped down into 16th, and that is Deck that's passed him. So I think for Ben, his softs have definitely died near the background, unfortunately. Meanwhile, they swap positions again up the front as Owen up the inside of Jake in towards the hairpin, and Owen takes the lead once more. And I think they're going to be switching places like no tomorrow. Casper's going to be gaining battery from Jake, and Owen's going to try and tag Casper along for the ride. Casper definitely wants to get past as well. You can see the battery that's going to die for Jake O'Sullivan, it looks like, whereas Casper is using a lot of energy but saving a bit of energy as well as he goes in towards turn 3 and 4. Beautiful run through the exit of turn 3 and 4, but I think Jake just about manages to hold on. Yes, he does. Unless Casper could go and send it maybe into turn 6. I don't think he can. But you never know with Casper. No, he's not going to do it. So at the moment, Owen Wyatt still leads. Jake in second, Casper not capitalising. But it's still an ERT 1-3, so I don't think they'll be too disappointed with that.
Yeah, I think this is working out quite nicely for ERT. It just allows Owen to breathe a little bit, recover some of that battery that he was having to use to attack and defend against Jake, and now Jake's under real attack from Casper. Casper, who saved a little bit more battery, he's almost got 0.5% or half a full battery, 47% left, and Jake is very much, how you can see, harvesting at every opportunity. He's down well underneath 20%. Casper onto the max train. This should be relatively elementary. Should cruise past Jake here. As you can see, Jake already out of battery. Casper with the DRS, a little squirt battery, cruises past Jake, and Jake on those aging soft tyres. Can he get it slowed down? Yes, he can. As you can see, a puff of white smoke kicked up by the guys here into the braking point. They can now break away. They've got a very healthy, almost 5-second lead over Yanis in 4th position. Waitsy down to 5th position. Quinn holding 6th quite nicely ahead of Ben Shaw and Kieran Spears as well. Pete Knighton, of course, you've got Lewis Carrot in P10. Solomon Lewis and P11 is sitting off the back as well. And then you've got a heap of drivers on mediums down to, as you say, Ben Harriott after his spin, the next runner on the softs, and Ollie Evans equaling the softs down in P18 after not qualifying. But Owen now, after that little bit of a rest, is perhaps dropped back a little bit, I'd say, just to almost like we saw in real life F1 back in Singapore. Is he just dropping back a little bit just to get Casper within DRS and using that to just drag Casper along as a buffer between himself and Jake?
I think he is, and I think he's doing very nicely indeed, because I'm looking at the back. I'm looking at Jake right now, and with the gap, he's out of DRS to Casper. So that means the TBRT boys are going to gain loads of time on Jake, which is not what Jake wants. And, oh no, Casper's out of DRS to Owen. I think, oh no, Casper's just about got it. That was good timing. I think Owen was told just slow down a little bit there, because he didn't want to be in danger of Casper losing out to DRS and Jake gaining it back on the straight. So I think if I was those two, don't squabble about too much. Make sure you can keep Jake behind. Just keep giving each other DRS, and you should be absolutely fine. As we've got Ben Shaw, I believe, that was almost close to the back of Quinn, but I think he lost a bit of time in the hairpin. But like you were saying, Quinn doing a superb job keeping up with these guys as well. But this is a track these guys have had a lot of practicing compared to other leagues where you only know what track you're going to race in on the actual night as well. So this is a lot better for them. They can plan their strategies ahead of time. Only difference is it's a 100% race, and they got to work effectively as a team. Only the downside for Quinn, though, he's out of DRS, so I think Ben would probably get him on the back straight sooner or later.
Yeah, Ben looks as though he's been saving a little bit of battery here, setting up at about 70% battery. And we're looking at, of course, Pete Knighton sitting behind, but Quinn doing an admirable job so far for Team ALR, the team in green. For P6 at the moment, he's just dropped off the back of Waitsy outside the DRS, as you were saying, so under threat a little bit here from Ben Shaw. And Team Speed, I believe, a little bit different to a team or to ERT, who have put in a little bit of practice for this, as I think this is Ben's second time in the game in about 2 months, and I know that Risky and Pete have also just turned on the game, having not driven a lap around China until we started qualifying, so that's always great preparation from Team Speed Esports. As Ben now right on the back of Quinn. Quinn doesn't even look low. He's going to fight that one. It even looks as though he got out the crossover halfway down the straight to pull him behind and get a bit of level slipstream for himself as he falls back behind Ben Shaw. So that position that was taken very early on in the race is now transferred back to how we started. As Ben runs a little bit wide out the final corner, but not enough to unsettle himself. But Quinn, he's not going to give this one up as he looks towards the inside. Ben's not having any of it and takes the inside line. Quinn's not going to try and make this one too wide, as in fact uses a lot of the entry curve through the right-hander at turn 2 and can get on the power here at turn 3 and 4. And well, it looks as though Ben might have just used a squirt of battery there to hold himself around about the 3/4 of second advantage, sorry, as we've now got Pete Knighton on the back of Quinn, 3/10 behind.
Yep, on the medium tyres, and you can tell who was obviously put in the practice, who hadn't. I know a certain league that had a China race a couple of weeks ago, so the likes of Quinn, Owen, Casper, Waitsy and Samba have already got used to this track already, so they know what it's like. But as you were saying, some people haven't put the practice in at all. It's maybe starting to bite them a little bit, but to be fair, Ben hasn't done that much practice and he's still doing a decent job. And saying that, I just jinxed his teammate as Pete has gone for a little spin like he usually does.
It was a matter of time as Spin Knighton heads his way down the grid. And up in front is actually Yanis Sklyventis that is making his way forwards as he moves up, as almost drifts his way through the hairpin there. And he's in fact going to lose the position back to Waitsy. They took a little bit too much entry speed into the hairpin and lost the position that he just gained behind. That's a lovely battle there between Quinn and Ben Shaw, almost side by side into the final corner. Quinn had got back in front of Ben. Ben's going to go the long way around. This is a dangerous move. You're having to sweep around. And in fact, there's the tag for Quinn. He's going to be right into the fourth part of the traffic. He's going to come around, and looks as though the ghosting system has saved the life of several cars that have just come around. And unfortunately, with no bias myself, it did look genuinely like a racing incident. Just the fantastic game physics of side-by-side contact, wheel-to-wheel. One car is always going to go around, and another car that's gone around, by the looks of it, is Robin down at the back of the grid. He is going very, very slowly and in real danger of being lapped, and we've not even reached a quarter of the way through this one.
Yeah, I think his tyres are probably a little bit toast, considering he's been on them for 11 laps and he spun for quite a few laps as well. And I'm keeping an eye on Samba, who's the only one who is pitted out of the main front lot. And he's already caught up to the back of the likes of Kieran and maybe Ben Shaw in a couple of laps as well. And I think it's going to be an easy pass for him. Meanwhile, Casper and Owen are having a ding-dong battle. They're just having a bit of fun. I think Owen may realise that Casper may be a bit faster for now, so maybe he's probably let him pass. But Nathan Samba gets past Team Speed up into 7th on the road. So doing all he can to try and get near his ERT camaraderie. As Kieran had a little bit of a tank tapper through to turn 14 there, but I think he's got the car back going again. I would expect Jake O'Sullivan to come in, I think, end of this lap. I'm guessing it would either be for a medium tyre or for a soft tyre, or he could probably go potentially for the hards. But I am expecting the soft runners to come in around about now, because these softs are definitely toast. And you can already see, Gav, that Jake is losing a lot of time to the ERT boys.
Yeah, just in the last few laps, you can see that he's dropped back 2.5 seconds now. So he was right on the tail of these guys. And, well, Owen and Casper very much doing a superb team job there and working together, dragging each other along. And Jake just can't stick with them in the same way that we saw some of the guys down through the pack trying to do, as well as into the box off of the soft tyres did come Speed Risky Sullivan Lewis. He's gone on to a set of mediums. So is that forecasting what we're going to see from some of these guys on the soft tyres? Is it a double stint on the mediums they're thinking of, or will we see someone go for the Samba route and try and run a set of hard tyres as long as possible, maybe even to the end? Of course, the tyre wear model is downgraded a little. It's not as aggressive as it is on 50%, so you could take the hard tyres to the end. As ERT swap positions for the leader. This one going back up in front of Casper, goes a little bit deeper, so going to cost him a little bit of time, but I'm sure Casper isn't going to think about sending up the inside of his teammate. But these two just working with each other, very much just doing as you see in NASCAR and various other slipstream-based sports. You can use some almost cycling-esque as they're sitting in the peloton and just using each other for a tow, moving in front. The other one gets a rest, gets to take their foot off the throttle pedal, save a little bit more battery, and moving up in front, because Jake's staying out, but that gap now 3 seconds.
That is interesting with Jake O'Sullivan staying out. I'm more certain that the ones we pitted now are going to be going for a conservative 2-stop strategy, as Kieran going for a set of mediums. We've got someone who started on the mediums, is pitted already, so that's a bit early, so that could be a free stop for him, for T-Crit, he's going to have to use the hard or the soft sooner or later. Ollie is in as well. I think he's going to go on to a set of the mediums, so I don't think anyone is going to opt for the hards. The only one that's opted for the hards is ERT Samba, but you never know. Ollie could prove us wrong. Nope, he's not proving us wrong, because he's gone on to the mediums anyway. So most people that have came in opting for a set of mediums, which should last, I think, ideally to around about lap 34 to 40, maybe even lap 36 will be the ideal time for them to pit, and then they can go on to another set of mediums again if they started on the soft. And here comes Casper. It is his turn to now give the toe to Owen Wyatt.
So Kieran Spears gets down the inside of Ed Berwick and takes 14th position, as I'm sure he had his heart in his mouth there, because Ed had a massive slap of rear end halfway through the corner as Kieran was trying to make a move. But as you say, Casper and Owen trading positions once again, as into the box finally does come Jake O'Sullivan. So we'll sit with the JOR driver as he makes his way down, the team in red, and they will be heading down towards the box. You can see another pit crew making their way out. It looks as though that was an ERT pit crew, but into the box for a set of medium tyres comes Jake. So where does he filter out? It looks as though he's going to come out just behind the two Orange Arrows drivers of Ryan Berry and of Deck. So Deck is going to come out just behind. So you can see Jake O'Sullivan here being sandwiched in between Deck and Ryan Berry, which is probably something no one ever wanted. But it is them currently sitting right in the middle between both Orange Arrows drivers who have done 15 laps on the tyres. Jake is going to want to clear Ryan as soon as possible, because if he is to get a slight undercut, and when I say slight undercut, I mean using these laps that he knows he's got a little bit of a tyre advantage over Casper and Owen, he's going to need to clear Ryan pretty sharpish, because he'll be losing tenths of a second every corner he's sitting behind.
And I think this is where we start to see the team game coming to play, because at this point, Jake would expect to potentially get past these guys. But if I were the likes of Ryan Berry, I'll try and hold Jake up, because they're pretty much rivals in this team championship. You don't want to give the other team at some point. So he's probably going to plant the car in different places. But you can see that Ryan Berry is losing a bit of grip compared to Jake. And Jake hardly using any errs there on that back straight. So Jake was very comfortably being able to get past there, which shows the pace difference on those mediums. And it just goes to show on this game, the fresher the rubber is, the better it is, regardless of what tire you go on to. And then we've got F1 Killer that is coming in. Quinn is coming in as well. I'm a bit shocked to see the mediums coming in now, but I'm guessing they're opting for a double medium stint now, maybe going on to the softs until the end of the race and overstretch it a little bit. So, yeah, and they both go on to a set of the mediums. So Samba's still your net race leader. He is 7.8 seconds behind his next ERT compatriot of Casper. So he is closing up, and that could be interesting when the ERT boys go and do their pit stops.
Yeah, we're back to where we started, aren't we, with the ERT locking out the front 4 positions of this one, but it is Samba that took a very out of the box thinking strategy to pit under a VSC on lap 2 of this one, so very early on, and well, it means that he's on a tyre disadvantage in terms of overall pace as Casper and Owen change position once again, as they've effectively just been working with each other to tow down the main straight. I think they've changed position every lap for the last 6 or 7 laps or so. Deck is now under threat from Kieran. Kieran, who set the fastest lap the last time around. No stranger to Deck as yellow flags are out for, I believe it's Risky that's gone around and had a half spin. He's got going again, but drops down a couple of positions. Kieran does clear Deck, of course. Deck, a former Team Speed member as well, but so we'll know Kieran from his time in Jakarta as well. And will he think about a move back on Kieran? I think it's better on it, of course, to vastly different strategies now. Kieran on Brandon mediums, Deck yet to pit in off the mediums. He started the race on. Jake, fastest lap of the race, 35.468. He is currently P7 and has a very empty track in front of him to do whatever he wants with. And well, it's all about now consistency, keeping yourself within the white line, getting some serious laps in. As behind gaps are starting to form as Kieran now closing in on Ryan Berry. Now he's cleared Deck, it's all about clearing the second of the orange arrows car. Currently in P9, he's going to go to the outside line. Will he be able to get the traction on the outside? Looks as though he will do. In fact, cuts across in front of Ryan. Doesn't let Ryan any advantage on the exit, and Kieran moving up, getting it done much quicker than what we saw Jake do. So using the fact that his tyres were up to temperature a little bit more to clear Ryan Berry, promoting that to Pete.
So the gap from Jake to the likes of Owen White and Casper is around about 26 seconds, and the pit lane loss is around about 17. So he's got to find 10 seconds or so in order to catch up, but you may lose a bit more time depending on where you are in the pit lane as well. So I'm intrigued as to when Owen and Casper decide to box, because I think it's a few seconds per lap you gain on the undercut from new mediums compared to old mediums to what we see in ERT. So this is the point where you're going to try and get some DRS. Don't get involved in too much traffic, otherwise you're going to lose that much time. As Ben, one member from Team Speed, comes into the pits, and he's probably going to go on to a set of mediums. And I think I just saw someone left the session. I can't remember who that was, but that's not good.
No, I didn't see that either. I was looking down at my spreadsheet, so I'm sure they will be able to jump back in. There is an open invite out there. So Ed Berrick dropping down. Is that in the pit lane? I believe it is. Yeah. So Ed into the pits. The two leaders, Owen E and Casper, have just lapped Robin Leyland. So Robin now dropping a lap down here on lap 19 after a couple of well, occupational hazards. Spinning a car on a racetrack, probably something you don't want to do. We see spin nighting. I'm just used to saying spin nighting rather than speed nighting. So we see Pete doing that quite frequently. He is in P5, but of course he has to pit stop as well. If you had the former old, I've never actually used TAPS before, but if you had TAPS used here, you'd see that the front two have changed position every single time they've approached the hairpin for the last, I think, 9 laps now. So very much working very nicely together. What it is doing is Robin, unfortunately, has his evening compounded with miseries, at least in the 3 second time cut. He's the first one to do so tonight. But what it is doing is allowing Samba, now within, it was 7.5 seconds, about 3 laps ago, it's now 6 seconds. So those medium tyres obviously going off a little bit. The hard tyres very much in a working window. It's just allowing Samba just to creep up every couple of laps or so. He's taking about half a second out.
Yeah, we're seeing the other of the ERT drivers, Waitsy, come in for his first stop of the evening. So he's going to try and get the undercut on some of his main rivals as well. Knighton is in as well, so he comes into the box as Waitsy just about gets past Ryan Berry. So he got ahead of him very quickly to what we saw the likes of Kieran and Jake did earlier on, so you can try and close up on the likes of Kieran later on too. But look at the gap that he lost to Kieran just by pitting just a few laps earlier. I did say about a few seconds per lap, and it's already at 6 seconds between Waitsy and Kieran, so not good for him currently, but he's going to be on the fresher rubber for a bit longer. Wait until the end of this stint, and I think Waitsy can start to close in very, very soon as well. I can start to see Jake closing in ever so slightly on the front 3, so watch him maybe fight out for some positions soon as well. And one thing we haven't mentioned as well, they don't know who their teammates are in the pits, as we've got one of the leaders coming in, as Casper took an interesting line into the pit lane there. Not what I would have taken, but he's in anyway into the pit.
Yes, in fact that's a good point we've not brought up. Of course, these are multiplayer cars, so the guys, whilst they're in their team livery, if you don't know your teammate, it's one of the lovely elements of the game they still managed to rectify. That's a tag and a half there from Ben Shaw, who's gone right into the back of Ryan Berry. He's got away without any damage, but I think Ryan was equally getting a little bit trigger happy on looking at the back of Killer, as the 3 of them were all fighting over position, but Ben really dragging the rear end there. He's lucky to get away with that one. Ryan Berry's still out on the 20 lap old mediums. He lost the position to Killer on that last lap, and he's now sitting right in front of Ben, and Ryan Berry a bit of a pincushion for front wings at the moment. He's seemingly just getting in the way of everyone who's on fresher tyres, but he's welcome to do that at the moment. He's on a completely different strategy for everyone. See what it is, if it's going to pay off longer term, as Ben thinks for a bit of a send, gets it done down the inside. I don't think Ryan's going to be able to come back at me. He's going to try and go to the outside, but surely with Grim Ben should have the advantage on the inside, and he does. Pulls to the inside and gets the move done. Ryan Berry now down into 10th position. It was Matthew Weinmark, T-Crix, that dropped out the session, has managed to rejoin, so it's good to see T-Crix now.
Yeah.
However, back in 18th position.
Okay, so it was him that disconnected from the session, but that unfortunately has lost a bit of time compared to his Orange Arrows compatriots, so that means they're not able to work together as we would have liked. And oh, that's cruel. I just saying he was back in the session, and the game retired him.
Yeah, he retired him on circuit.
I know what's gone wrong. It's the game has a bug where if you don't leave the game when you disconnect, if you disconnect again, it retires you, or you have to leave the game completely in order for it not to retire you. It's annoying that, but unfortunately it is what it is, sadly, as Quinn was having a battle with Risky there, and he's up to P12. But yeah, unfortunate for T-Crix there, as Quinn has had a bit of a knock into the final corner. That could have given Risky a bit of time there, but unfortunately not.
No, so yeah, unfortunately that is Orange Arrows that lose a team member, so it's the second class for retired. We lost Michael Okeke very early on. An issue with Robin, we believe, that put him in the wall, so it's now ALR and Orange Arrows down to 3 cars. Of course, it is a 4-car team race for everyone, so just if you've joined us later on, and hopefully you're enjoying it so far. As I said, it's a new stream for me. I'm using a whole new heap of tools that I've not had previously, so if you are watching along and you think that things need to change, or there's let's say call it constructive feedback, feel free to drop it into the comments. Very welcome to hear it. I know that my audio levels are a little bit here and there at the moment. I will get it sorted out next time, don't worry. But hopefully you're enjoying it. It is just to refresh your memories for everyone out there. It is Vetalo Endurance Racing League. 100% distance for these guys. Normal qualifying 18-minute long session. Of course, it is a 4-car team championship. Points for all positions, points for the qualifying results as well, depending on where your team finishes overall. And then we've got plenty of other points that can be made. Well, all drivers in the team finishing the end of the race will add points to your tally as well. So the likes of ERT can still do that, Speed can still do that, and GAOR can still complete all drivers finishing the race as well. So plenty of points that will be made up in the next few, well, I say next few laps or so. We've still got plenty of racing left to go. We're not even halfway through this one, of course. There's 23 laps would usually mean we're coming towards the end of it, but Jess, we've still got a heap of racing left to go.
Yeah, I think we're both used to in other leagues commentating on 50% races where we would have ended, but yeah, we still got quite a bit. So it's a new element for us, isn't it? Because we're not used to this. So it's kind of like an endurance for us, but we're kind of used to it in when we do it in real life. Of course, obviously you do some real life stuff. Do you still do some real life commentary now and again, or have you stopped that now?
No, now and again. I do a lot more presenting than I do commentary. I'm trying to get back into some go-karting. I was doing mini bikes and British Cycle Cups over the year. I was 2 wheels rather than 4. I've always wanted to do 4 wheels, but I'm very jealous of your Formula student. The place I actually work at put in a team occasionally every now and then, so it was quite cool to see you going to Silverstone.
I'm doing that again this year.
I'm jealous. It looks fantastic.
But I can't do the Saturday though because it clashes with Formula E. And they gave me I think it was either Christmas or birthday present to go and see the Formula E action on the Saturday. So I can't do the Saturday, but I can do the Sunday. So
well worth it. And I think for me, it's my goal is to commentate at Brands Hatch. That's my iconic circuit.
Yes, that's a fun track.
Too far away from there. So that's my long-term goal is to finally get in the comms box over there. And but all of saying that, I'm very slowly saving up to buy my own race car. So racing on that or commentating that, I'll take either one. But yeah, you can find all of that if you want to go back and watch any of that stuff. You can go to @Formula Students YouTube channel where it's up on there, I believe, and you go to @Fab Racing where you can go back and watch. When I would do 2020 through to 2022, and then of course I've been working for Motorsport Media and Motorsport Radio ever since. I'm doing some bits here and there for them. The Motorsport Awards coming up, another one I'll be presenting in the next few months or so. But back here in the Vetalo Endurance Championship, and I actually inquired with Def, as we've got a bit of downtime here, as some of the cars all split up. We've got Waitsy, I'll put on with Waitsy, but he is chasing Kieran, so knowing Kieran, he's gonna pretend that he's gonna put up a fight, but inevitably Waitsy will clear past him pretty quickly. But the Vetalo Championship, I was like, is it Vetalo? Is it Vetalo? How do we pronounce it?
I don't know. Well, we probably have to ask Jake after the stream.
So it's from what Deck has said. It's named after. And I'm going to put in quotations here because it's not something that I would like to endorse. The 2 greatest Formula 1 drivers ever, of Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. So it is Vetalo.
Oh, right, that makes sense.
Yes, I know. Well, yes, I mean the grouping of the 2 drivers being anywhere near the best ever is fundamentally incorrect, and I know that's going to upset the likes of Deck and Ryan Berry, who cannot draw themselves away from the rugged-looking Spaniard, but unfortunately it doesn't even break my top 5. But Jake leading from Casper, of course Jake having a little bit of a tyre disadvantage. Well, I say a little bit of a tyre disadvantage. 100% race, it's not as much as it would be if it was a 50% race, but he's got a 3.5 second lead currently, but 5 laps extra, so Casper will feel that much later on in this stint, although saying that, he's taken a heap of time out of him already in this lap, so it looks as though those tyres have been brought up very nicely into the window by Casper. A nice run so far from the driver in ALR, Giannis Sklaventis. Currently finding himself being overtaken by Owen Wyatt, but nonetheless a very comfortable 4th position for him as Kieran and Samba change position. So Samba After going onto the hard tyres very early on, he actually got rid of them. He's onto a medium, so a strange kind of format and strategy here from Samba, who came off of some quite nice tyres onto the slowest tyres, went to the back, cycled through, and out of all of that, he's kind of just lost a couple of positions for seemingly nothing but wanting to overtake people.
Because when I was doing research for this race, I was expecting people to go for a two-stop strategy, soft, medium, medium. That was going to be, I think, the preferred strategy for a lot of drivers today. But with Samba pitting early, I'm almost certain it's going to be a free stop. I don't think those softs are going to get to the end of the race. But maybe he's doing something that you don't normally do in a 100% race, because it is a team event, so he could be helping his teammates a lot more. Everyone has done their first stop, apart from Samba, who's done two. So Jake is currently leading the train due to him pitting a lot earlier, doing like to Casper and Owen, because Casper and Owen, obviously, they were on the mediums for a bit longer. Jake obviously was on the softs, and then he pitted onto a set of mediums, and a few people about to lap Robin again, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I agree with you. Skullab is doing a really good job for ALR currently. I haven't commentated on him before, but he's keeping up with ERT and Team Speed and JOL, with Jake there leading at the moment. But we've got Samba and Waitsy trading positions, so Samba now gets up into fifth spot.
Yeah, nice move there between teams. I'm sure that was orchestrated very nicely indeed, and the 22-year-old gets past the 35-year-old. So Waitsy actually, are we looking at the oldest driver on the field? I think we are. In fact, he's the oldest driver in the league. There you go, someone older than me. As I'm technically a reserve for Team Speed, but being the spring chicken for Waitsy, having a year extra experience than me, and the man on running on, interestingly, Waitsy on the pad, the only driver in ERT on the pad. Of course, he is a journeyman across leagues, the likes of TUF, CRL, VSL, One Hub, LSR. He's raced in a heap of them. He's had his overall best results at a few race wins and poles, but we know he can be more competitive than that. But he's very much now, much like me. He said he used to kart back in the day, but now just does this all for fun. I feel you there. That's what happens when you get old. The body fails you. You feel a little bit stiffer in the morning, but as Samba now closing in up on Giannis Slaventis, and Samba looking pretty ominous now to take over fourth position, and can just sit here, and you can see with so much more grip on the advantage on the inside, getting through even with the curvature of the circuit. We've got a yellow flag localised, but it is out for, I believe that might
Robin.
Oh, it's Robin. Okay, Robin. I was going to say might be green, but it is in the 18th position, so no need to worry. It is now green, so no safety cars out so far, with just the one VSC that we had very early on. That was an aggressive turn in there from Samba, but gets away with it. But form is very much in the way of the team. So you sit second, third, fourth and sixth. However, with Samba making an extra stop to effectively get himself 4 seconds off the lead, if you would say if he was on the same strategy as everyone else, he'd be 18 seconds in the lead right now.
That's huge. I think he is. I think probably the quickest driver in this field right now. You can see why ERT pit Samba is one of their drivers. Not gonna lie, he's doing pretty well in One Hub. Has won the last 2 races that he competed in, of course, China being one of them, where he started on pole in the sprint race when it was a reverse grid because he bottled it in Australia. Then he went on to take the win in the feature as well, and then he went to win the race in Miami last night as well. So he knows how to win around this track, but the question is, what's he going to do when he gets near his ERT teammates? Is the ERT teammates going to let him by, or I think I would if Samba wants to try and chase down Jake, because the fastest laps on the team do count, because the more people that get great laps for the team, well, they get some decent points out of it, as Waitsy gets past Skullab up into 5th position, which makes it an ERT 2, 3, 4, 5 now.
Of course, it is Jake leading, but I don't believe that's going to be for too long, because Casper has made up that 3.5 second gap in 4 laps or so, and he's now right on the back of Jake, and it doesn't look though Jake has got much to come back at him with. And Jake O'Sullivan, of course, the former University of Birmingham Motors Racing Club member, who parted for 6 years in the UKC. That's actually where I'm trying to get some commentary. But he's a former University of Birmingham Formula Student Sprint and Endurance driver back in 2019, back when he was young, back when Jake likes to think he's younger than he is. He's an old man like me now, but he's currently desperately trying to hold off the Finn, and but Casper, well, he can just sit here, bide his time, and just work on when he wants to get past Jake. Seemingly looking as though it's going to be coming up very shortly. Of course, Casper, the season 18 podium tier champion in one hub, and the VSL season 8 champion in tier 1 as well over there. So no stranger to trophies are these two. Of course, Jake, the Cup Series champion, as we've got one of the, I think that's Robin once again, a local yellow out. No need for anything more at the moment. As you can see, he is being lapped by the cars. That might bring out VSC if he can't get it going in time, but it looks as though it is all sorted, and we should be back to green very, very shortly. Lap 29 is about to become lap 30, so we are now over half distance, and into the second half of this race that is looking as though, yes, it's very much going to go the way of ERT.
Yeah, I think it's going to go that way at the moment. And that wasn't a localised yellow just now, a few moments ago. It was Risky that had, unfortunate, a little bit of a spin there. But he's able to get his car back and running. And even if he's 12th at the moment, he's still going to get some points for finishing this race. And some bonus points for all 4 team members finishing. Because at the moment, all 4 Team Speed members are looking set to get some all right points, actually, with Ben and Kieran running line astern, but Kieran is trying to fight off F1 Killer for P9. That is Team Speed versus JOR, but I think Speed Kieran obviously got ahead of F1 Killer just for a moment there, and he's up into P8. It's hard to tell which team is going to be ahead after EITI. I think it could be Team Speed, but I'm not entirely sure. But we've got the likes of obviously Jake, who is doing well for JOR in front, but it's all well and good with you doing well as an individual. If your teammates don't do well, that may not help one bit, and that's why ERT I think are doing a lot better, because they've got all their drivers in the top five for now. And obviously I think we did see Samba overtaking Owen, and but Owen is still chasing him down, so it looks like what Samba is doing is trying to give Owen some DRS to make sure no one else closes up to him. There's a killer hanger fight once again with Kieran. Kieran to the left of the hairpin, and they push each other off the circuit.
Yes, I don't think Kieran would be best pleased with that killer. Definitely carrying some speed into the hairpin. I'm not really affording Kieran too much room on exit. I'm sure he'll return the favour. If I've taught him anything, it's always to give them a receipt, so we'll see if that's coming anytime soon. As Killer's going to surely just drift out wide here, as he does. Quite a nice defensive move there, as Kieran can reset. Killer's used a lot of his battery to get past. Kieran's still sitting with around about 20-30%, so can use it when he needs to. Probably best to save it up for the straights. He locks both front tyres there. That's not going to help him in his quest to retake Killer, but I believe your assertion of, I think Team Speed are probably overall in P2 overall, even with JOR currently sitting in P2 and P8 with the likes of Ben, Kieran and Pete all 7th, 8th and 9th, because Ed Berrick and Ollie Evans down as 16th and 17th. I imagine we've got ERT from Speed, possibly from JOR, and then behind them you would have ALR. And Orange Arrows would be your next drivers in that order. I'd like to say so. But
we're not the ones doing the maths,
no,
luckily.
I'm very glad of that. So as Kieran, here we go. Will he return the favour? No, he thinks better on it. So he doesn't go down the inside of Killer. He thinks better of it this time. And into the box comes Yanis Slaventis for a second stop here on 32 that will surely take him to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think that was when I would have thought these guys would have pitted for a 2-stop race. So he's coming in. It's going to be an aggressive 2-stop strategy, but it can work. But he's got to save his tyres, I think, until later on in the race, and then that's where he can start pushing a bit. So hopefully, no, he's gone on softs, Gareth.
That's a very aggressive strategy. I don't think he's going to take those 24 laps.
No, free stop.
Yes, he's going to need, as we've got a yellow flag on the main straight that's got going again. I think that might have been
Kieran. Oh no, it was a Kieran.
Was it Ryan, or it might have been Ryan or Deck? One of the two, very slow out the final corner. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a bold move, but you've got to think that he's hoping for a safety car or something to break up this race, because of course reduced damage does mean you've got less chances of a safety car. But, well, it's bold. Will it pay off as Owen and Jake are fighting over position? And Owen gets up, so Jake now starting to drop back. 16 laps on those medium tyres, 9 for Owen, so ERT at the moment reclaiming P1, P2, P3. Waitsy is fallen off of these guys, so it looks as though Jake at the moment, even with the 17 lap on mediums, is going to be able to hold on to P4. But he was trying to fight away from the ERT drivers in the early stint, but ERT back very much in a formation flying at the front of this one. Yellow flags are out at the back because we've got 2 localised yellow, one of them for one of the team speed cars, and it's Risky who's gone around again on the exit of the snail section onto the main straight, and he's now got Ed Berwick behind him, so he's lost a couple of positions to Ben Harrett, and he's now under threat, and will probably lose another one to Ed, who's going to recover a position here up to P15. They're side by side, get down the inside, brace a little bit later. That's going to allow Risky to sweep back up the inside, do the under over, and hold on to the position. Surely they're side by side into the final corner. It's not really an overtaking place here in China. You will find yourself either spinning yourself if you're on the inside, or the other car on the outside cartwheeling over into the runoff area. But Ed not giving this one up, dives down the inside and gets the position back that he very briefly took at the end of the last lap, but using a bit of battery to do so. Risky now down to 16th position.
I believe Ed was one of the drivers that was called last minute to race, because one of the drivers could not make it. So fair play for Ed, giving Risky a run for his money with such late notice to practice around China as well. But I was watching Risky's tyre temperatures, especially on the rear, and I could see him going up like crazy. I think it was in the 106s, 107s, I think. I was just looking at his dash with my camera angle. So, yeah, not good rear ends right now, but on the front it looks pretty decent, but in the rears are going to be not too happy as well. So, and we've got Kieran, I believe he's going to be doing his final stop unless he goes onto the soft compound tyres as his team gets ready. And I do see some yellow stripe tyres, and that will get him to the end of the race as Samba gets past Casper up into the race lead. And I think that was an orchestrated move there from the ERT boys there, so good job from them.
Yeah, I think that's a case of get out in front, make a gap, and probably be able to set the soft tyres in, what, 10 or so laps, and you'll be quite happy to the end of this one. As Kidder and Knighton both fighting away on that last lap. It was quite entertaining as Pete gave him a little bit of a what I'd call a team speed wiggle on the exit of the final corner of watch yourself or else we'll end up crashing into each other, as you can see Killer dropping back a little bit now. Of course Pete does have slightly fresher tyres, but well, that was Lewis Kerrith that perhaps got a little bit too close to Pete's side pod that he was hoping for, as he's now just within DRS. It's the ERT guys in front of this one that are all driving around within DRS. No one else able to trap themselves within that 1 second window. But Killer, even with DRS, he hasn't got any battery to supplement the DRS, so he's fallen outside that 1 second window. Of course, the extra few laps on the tyres will play their part, especially at this stage of the tyre life, where they've done about 15 or so plus laps. And will we see Will we see these guys diving in earlier for a set of mediums like we've seen from Kieran, as you were saying, or will they try and kind of take the pain a little bit longer and maybe stick out for 6 or 7 laps and try and run some softs to the end? It's an aggressive strategy. You'd be taking up a heap of time in the late stages of the race when those tyres have burnt out. But of course, if you can make them work in the early stages of the stint, it's all about risk and reward and trading off time versus trading off pace. So lap 35 of 56 here in China, the first ever race here at the Vetalo Endurance Championship, and 6 races over 2024. And next time up we will be next month in Qatar. So 3 races on F1 23, 3 races on F1 24, as we've got Ollie Evans and I believe that was Risky coming in to make a pit stop. So Sullivan Lewis down at P17 dropping in off of the mediums that have done 21 laps. I'm sure he'll go on to a set of mediums to take him to the end of this one. But at the moment, the superb things very much go the way of ERT, Samba, Wyatt and Casper, who, whilst Jake is desperately trying to close back in, he's 2.3 seconds off the back of them. These guys working together perfectly as a team.
And I think that's an example of what you do in team sports, isn't it? If you are similar pace, or if you are drivers that maybe teams that have slow drivers, maybe try and work at a similar pace to not hold each other up, but just to give each other the toe to make sure no one else could get past you. And I think the advantage of VRT is that they're all in the same tier in many leagues. They all have similar pace. I think they're going to work extremely well for the rest of the season. Bearing in mind, I believe that Owen White is a reserve driver, so he may not get called up for every race, but at the moment it looks like he could get called up for every race, and he kind of likes his track. But he hasn't done well. I think last week when we were in China, he got caught up in incidents, but he hasn't been caught up in incidents today. He's been helping his teams. He's been in second for pretty much the entirety of the race, apart from when he was switching with Casper. So if the other teams can work well like these guys, then they could go incredibly well. Obviously, another team working well is the likes of Team Speed with Ben Shaw and Speed Knighton nearly close together as well. ALR doing well with Skulav and Quinn as well, but bearing in mind Quinn's still yet to box as well. And I think maybe at the end of next up, I think we could see the likes of Jake potentially go into the pits, maybe Ben Shaw as well, Quinn. The ones who've been on those tyres for like 20 laps or so, I would expect them to come into the pits at the end of this lap, but I might be proved wrong.
Yeah, I think 24 laps is probably the longest you want to take these, as always. Skulav kind of tags the rear end of Killer there going into the hairpin. Of course, he's on new soft tyres, and Killer on old mediums, so the braking points is going to be different. You have to kind of judge and readjust where your braking point is. If someone in front of you is on much older tyres, but he should quite comfortably go down the inside and get the position. He gets a little bit of a kiss as he goes past as a goodbye, but gets away with it. This reduced damage is very much benefiting some of these guys, and perhaps have forgotten where the brake pedal is over the Christmas period as they kind of settle back into league racing in the new year. So Slab gets a tag from Killer. Killer gets away with that one. Quinn and Kieran are battling away in the fight for well, actually that would have been rude to say, because Kieran's clearly the most disliked driver in Jackie Car. I would have said the battle for the most disliked driver in Jackie Car, but we all know that that's a fight between 2 drivers in the Cup tier at the moment. I won't name them, but Kieran now up into P10, Quinn into P11. It is Orange Arrows that are having a middling race. In fact, if you're Deck, I hope he is on his wheel, because if he is, then I'm very happy that he's sitting there in P12 just doing some serious laps, because that's what he needs, just getting into the groove. I told him that as long as you're on it, by the end of the game, he will have taken at least half a second, if not a second, off of his pad time. It just happens naturally. I can't drive on pad anymore after moving to the wheel. I'm completely useless at it. I think tonight, and I'm sure you'll agree, the driver that's going to be the most unhappy with their race evening is Ben Harrett, down in 16th position.
Yeah. I think he'll be very disappointed because I would expect him to be near where his teammates is. He's about similar pace to them, but I think he was just struggling to keep up with them potentially as well. Maybe he was pushing a little bit too much at the start, so he was forced to do different strategies potentially as well. But it's still a long season to go. Of course, there's still plenty of races throughout the courses of F1 23 and 24, and you never know. Ben may have a good guitar race. He is known as the midfield man in Jacko car, of course. Got himself to his first ever Championship 5 last season, and did very well last season in taking the win in the Super Speedway, which secured his Championship 5 spot. So, but again, he's not doing very well here. So maybe Qatar will be a better race for him. Maybe F1 24 would be a better season for him, as we've got a yellow flag. That is risky, that has spun again on fresh mediums.
Yeah, you'd think that Risky learned how to do this corner by now. He's done it 38
Yeah.
times. I think he's spun there about 4 times so far. So Sullivan needs to...
He's got marbles on his tyres now.
Well, I don't think he's got any tyres on the moment. I think he's probably got sheets of ice, because the only reason why he keeps on spinning there, we're going to have to take away the spin moniker from Knighton at the moment, because it's been Risky that's been trailblazing that one into P17, but well, he's got no threat around him. Robin is a lap down, but Risky is now, well, I think Risky's got a lap down as well, because he's got his teammates coming up behind him as Pete gets a 3-second time penalty. So a couple of drivers in the last few laps getting time penalties. I think Robin picked up a second 3 seconds, and Pete picking up one as well. So Jake in on lap 39 of 56 onto soft tyres. So that's an interesting call. Killer's now behind him, but of course 22 laps on those mediums, that's not a threat to Jake. He's definitely not going to attack the JOR team captain, who is of course looking at moving back through this field. I would expect Jake is kind of hoping that the team speed guys in front of him, of Ben and Pete, decide to box and get rid of these mediums within the next lap or so, because, well, every time Jake's come in so far, he's come back out directly into traffic, and we know that there's history between Jake and Ben, and we know that Pete just likes to get in people's way. So they're not going to do anything to get out of the way of Jake, who is still potentially got a chance of a podium, but he would need to clear these guys and use a massive undercut to close back up on that 2 or 3 second advantage that the ERT guys had.
Yeah, I don't think the softs are going to last very long at all. I think after 12 laps, we did see the softs drop off. But Jake had no problem getting past Speed Knighton there on the back straight into the DRS, now heading towards the hairpin. Now he's got to try and get past Ben Shaw, which is going to be, I think, very, very hard, because we know Ben could pull up a fight. Oh, as Jake was very happy to see that Ben has gone into the pits for his next stop. I don't think he wanted to be held up with fighting Jake O'Sullivan for so long, so he's going to go for his final stop. Now, what is Ben going to do? Is he going to do the same as Jake and go on the softs, or is he going to go on mediums? He's going on to the softs too.
Yeah, I think these guys are hedging the bets on the fact that, of course, the tyre wear is not going to be as high. Ooh, now that might cause
VSC.
It's a VSC. I think that's Robin that's had an issue at the final corner. No, it's not. It is.
It's one of the Orange Arrows guys.
It's Quinn that's without a front wing. So
Oh.
Quinn has had an off at the final corner. He's tagged the wall, and he's now having to circulate without a front wing. So that's a shame for Quinn, who's going to have to do this lap under VSC. I think we're going to get away without a safety car. Of course, it was reduced safety car, so it's only going to come out very, very rarely. Which would have been quite nice actually to bunch them back up with the 16 laps left remaining, but Quinn's going to have to do this lap and pit in with an extended, whilst he probably would have been pitting for a new set of tyres at the end of this lap as well, which I'm sure he'll be pretty annoyed with himself about. So that's going to cost him an extra 6 or 7 seconds in the pit stop to change that front wing, plus the tyre stop, so it's a 17-second stop. He's going to be doing that in about 25 seconds or so. So a real bonus there for the likes of Deckers. Now that is not what Scrab wanted. Drive through.
I did see another one as well. I did see another person get a drive through. Oh, Jake! Jake's got a drive through.
Oh, you've got to. Well, so you got to feel from you can't. Oh, Scram. Yeah, he makes it a bit feel even worse. Speeding into the pit lane. So not only is he going to have to roll through, he's going to have to take a 5-second penalty.
At least Jake didn't get a speeding. Yeah, he's fine.
Where is Jake going to filter out? Because Kieran's coming down the main straight now. Ben Shaw, who of course has pitted onto a new set of softs, so he's going to come out not too far behind Jake. So it's not out of the question that Ben can catch him as Quinn retires in fact at the exact
in the pit lane
position. No, it's not. It's the final corner, right on the exit of where he's just pinged out of existence. He was parked on the curb at the exit of the final corner. So whether or not that's Quinn hitting the wall on the entry to the pit lane and car resetting his car out on track, I don't quite know, but I think we're lucky to get away with a safety car there because
I think we had 2 VSCs already. We haven't had any safety cars yet. For people like the 3 ERT boys, they were hoping for a safety car, but unfortunately they haven't got one.
Interesting call there from Quinn. Looks as though he was just trying to get back to the pit lane to change that front wing.
You might have forgot.
Hasn't worked, and yeah, unfortunately for him, that is another retirement for Team ALR. So that will be knocking down their points once again from their tally. And well, with Sclav with that drive-through penalty. As in fact, he gone off as well. No, it's another one of the
Robin's out, safety car,
and there is the safety car. Well, that changes everything because this is a perfect opportunity to come in and strap on the soft tyres, and I would expect the pit lane to become very, very busy. And yes, this is where multiplayer cars really throws a bit of a mess up, because do we see anyone having to stack?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, of course. Kieran's had no such trouble with coming into the pit lane, but it's hard to tell if they are double stacking. But no, it looks like no such problems. Jake's gone in for fresh sauce, which is understandable. He pitted quite early, and they haven't lost that much time. So, yeah, looks like they're A-OK currently. This has helped the ones that could get a double stack near the front, of course, but that has promoted Knighton up to 5th, Ben Shaw up to 6th, F1 Killer as well for JOR ahead of Jake O'Sullivan as well. So that is looking good for Team Speed and JOR. It's going to be close between the two of them in terms of who's going to get overall dibs of second place here, because I think at this stage, as long as they don't bottle it, I think we know who the top team is going to go to. But the battle for second is going to be, I think, very tight between Team Speed and Team JOR, I think, because we've got 2 JOR drivers in the top 10, and we've got 3 Team Speed drivers in the top 10 as well, and Ed is climbing his way through as well, so that is going to be interesting as well. Ryan Berry comes in, and Ryan Berry has done a bottle and has gone on 18 lap old mediums. First, why? And second, why haven't you gone on softs? That is my question.
That's a Ryan Berry strategy. We've seen those in VSL plenty of times before. I'm sure he thinks it's a masterclass, but he's going to have to come back in the end of this lap, because those tyres will feel like absolute garbage in around about 5 laps time, and he's got to go another 14 to get to the flag here. So Ryan Berry will, I'm sure, well, he's not going to give up any. He might actually, to be fair, he might give up a couple of positions, but only 2 positions to Risky and to Ollie down in 15th and 16th position. No stop was made by Owen, by Waitsy and by Ben. They had come in a few laps earlier, have decided that they're quite happy to hold on to track position rather than onto a fresh set of softs. And that is, of course, if they have a fresh set of softs left. That might be the reason why they've decided to stay out, but that could play into a massive advantage towards the end of this one, because we know that the tyres, as you said, Jess, they don't last that long. And if Ben's going to have an extra, 2.5 laps on Jake on tyre wear coming at the end of this one, Jake's got to get his way past Kieran. He's probably not going to have to worry about Killer or about Lewis Kerrin in P7, but will it come into play later on in the race? Of course, we'll be on the safety car, I imagine, for the next 2 laps or so. So we'll have about a 12 lap dash to the
Yeah, and I can't remember what the safety car limit is in a 100% race. I know with 50% it's about four or five on this game, so I think it'll be about 5 or 6 in a 100% race. So I think it won't be that long before we reach the limit, to be honest, because I think most of it has been taken under VSCs, and the safety car's going to bunch them up. And I'm just trying to see. I do believe. I'm just trying to see. I do believe. Oh, Ollie might be lapped. I hope he's not. Let me have a look. Yeah, Ollie is lapped. I think there's certain drivers that are gonna not benefit from the safety car because they're gonna be a lap behind everybody else, and they're gonna be forced to let each other through. But if you're from, I would say, deck upwards, I think you still have a very good chance of getting some points for your team. Orange Arrow's not doing too well, but with Dex, I think third race on a reel. Hopefully he's on the wheel. If he's on a pad, I'm gonna kill him. But if he's on the wheel, he's doing a decent job.
Yeah, very much so. He's currently sitting there in P11 behind Slav. Of course, had to serve a 5 seconds penalty at the stop where he was coming from some time. So luckily for him, the gaps between the cars was big enough so that he hasn't lost too many positions. Of course, he's found his way down from around about 56 positions down to 10. So safety car will be out. There's still plenty of cars still to pick up. We can see the 2 orange arrows down at the final hairpin, and Risky as well. I imagine a lap down. It might just be on the lead lap. I do think that he might be a lap down.
Don't pit. Oh, he may be a lap down now if he's pitted, but I'm guessing he's probably not going to catch up anyway. I think he'll just about get away with it. Maybe.
What tyres is it now? Is it hard?
It's got to be soft.
Right, we're going to roll in. It could be anything. It could be wet.
It could be wet. Oh no, it's soft. Thank goodness.
Right, so we're on to a brand new softs. So Ryan's done that, and we'll be heading out. And in fact, he's going to lose 2 positions because Risky. And is it going to be just?
Oh.
Was that legal? That would have been right on the line, the blend line there. So it looks as though Ollie's got the position ahead of Ryan Berry. So they will be fighting their way down through 14th, 15th and 16th position. So with the fact that Ollie has made up a position, I would say that Ollie is actually on the lead lap. So so that does mean that everyone should be on the lead lap, hopefully. They just need to catch back up, which is going to be a tall order because I have a feeling that the safety car will want to come in at the end of this lap. It could be a late call. Does it wait for Ed Berwick and Ben Harrod closing up behind Risky? He's probably using up all of his targets to close back up. Safety car does look as though it is going to stay out for another lap. Owen here as he's looking at the back of that Mercedes CrowdStrike safety car, one of the nicest sounding cars on the grid. Don't listen to any of these terrible V6 turbo language. You want to listen to the back of that Mercedes safety car. It sounds absolutely beautiful when you get to go to a real Grand Prix and listen to that cruising around. But Owen leading way from Samba. We know that Samba overall has got the speed advantage, but well, it's a team game. This is what we have to keep telling ourselves. It's a team game here, but every driver wants to win. So how much do the gloves come off PRT, or is it just about coming home and picking up those points?
If I was Samba, I would want to go for the win, but like you were saying, you've got to make sure that you do not pull away from your rivals, because you want to give your rivals DRS, and if you're the one who doesn't get DRS, people like Knighton, Ben Shaw, Kieran, even Jake as well, they're going to gain advantage from it. So it's about using the toe to its advantage, like we saw Owen and Casper do earlier on, and switching each other through, and that was allowing to increase the gap to everybody else. Just if I were you, just don't pull away. Just use each other as slipstream and make sure that no one else could get past you. Do it in a way to make sure you don't slow down too much, of course. But if it's got to be the team. It's not about drivers' championship. It's about teams championship, and the team with the most points does crown with the title. Safety car is in this lap, so everyone has caught up. I believe, yeah, everyone is on the lead lap, which is always a bonus. So all 16 cars do have a shot of winning this race, unless you're Knighton or Risky, he has a penalty.
Yes, yeah. So that's what I was just about to bring out. That's a call that Team Speed need to make. That Pete is currently sitting on a penalty. Does he let Ben go, knowing that he's going to have 3 seconds added to his time at the end of this one, or does Pete pull rank and say, well, Ben, you've not been quite up to pace so far. Let me see what I can do. And then go. But they've got to watch out for Jake and also for Giannis in 10th position, because we know those two have got some pace behind them. But lights of the safety car have been extinguished. Safety car's disappeared up the road, and it now means that Owen is leading this train, and he can dictate any time he wants to go. It's not like Precision Jump car where you have to wait for a specific line. He can go any time he wants, and I'd imagine it's right off the final corner to catch everyone on the final corner, and he's off and underway. It's a good restart from Owen. Not only has he caught out the rest of the field, you can see he's looking down over Samba. They're a second and a half back in P9 and in P5. It's a good restart from the field. No issues so far. And you can see it's ELC 1, 2, 3, 4, Speed, P5, P6 and P8, and then we've got JOR, P7 and P9, P11, P12. So the field is definitely being mixed up, but being led away by the dark blue of Elite Racing Team. Can anyone catch up to these guys? As Waitsy in P3 will be happy to be ahead of Casper. I know that Casper's been very, very quick all evening long. Speed Knight is sitting with him, and we will double check the intervals showing you that everyone's still within half a second of each other on this restart. 46 laps of 56 completed, 10 to go at the end of this one. Jess, what do we think? Is it ELT? Will we see anyone from the midfield fighting their way through and attacking these 4 dark blue cars at the front?
I think it's going to be ERT that gets the overall win today, but the question is which ERT driver is going to do so. I don't think it matters at the end of the day, as Ed Berrick has had a bit of a spin from JOR in the background, but Nathan Samba does get past Owen up into the lead, so I wonder if that's a little bit of a toe tactics from the pair of them. But JOR was doing so well, as we got Kieran and Jake fighting in the background too. We've got Ben Harrett and Ryan Berry from Orange Arrows fighting too. They don't want to squabble too much, but Jake's dropped down into P9. Kieran doing well in P8 for Team Speed. But is Jake going to get a good run in towards turn 1? We're seeing, I think, Team Speed and JOR fighting for some decent points in this race. And we've got Killer fighting with Ben, Jake fighting with Kieran. Jake and Kieran used to fight each other on a regular basis, whereas Ben and F1 Killer are not. I have to say, the one that's benefited from that safety car more than anyone is F1 Killer. He is ahead of the drivers you would expect to be quicker on track.
Yeah, good restart there from Killer. Lewis Perrin has moved up into P6. Kieran down to P9 now, behind Jake. So Jake getting that move done, and if you watch Jacko car, and you've watched it in the last year or so, it's a little bit longer. You know, occasionally there's a little bit of bad blood between these guys, between Jake and between Kieran. And well, it looks as though Jake might have the upper hand. In fact, Giannis looking pretty handy behind Kieran. So Kieran not only looking forward, but looking in his mirrors too for the green machine sitting behind as Team ALR has got sitting. The only remaining Team ALR car sitting behind Kieran. And what can Kieran do is he's trying to look back at Kazman, Jake. Jake equally trying to get the move done on Ben, going around the outside into the hair, but this is a bold move to get this one done, and in fact he's pulled it off. Lovely move there from Jake to go around the outside of Ben into P7 as Samba does pass up the race 31.07 here on lap 48 of 56. And I think earlier in that restart we had an issue, as you said, between Ed Berrick, who caused that localised yellow. Deck dropped down a couple of positions, down to P15 as well, so perhaps an issue between the pair of them as Risky clears Ben Harris to P13. So they're fighting away over position, and they're still going toe-to-toe with each other around turn 1, through turn 2 and into turn 3. They're still side by side. In fact, Deck's trying to get involved in this battle with Ben Harrett as well, as you can see he's sitting right behind Ben, and Ben's going to tag the the inside of Risky's car, gets away with it, but Team Orange Arrows currently sitting behind Team Speed and Speed Risky, as you say speed so many times your head spins. But Ben Spurs here, Ben Harrick, Ben Harrick is going to have to try and find another way around Risky, as he's got Dex sitting right on his gearbox, so Dex doing a good job here. But there's a nice move there from Ben Harrick. He's going to go up the inside. No, he's not. He thinks better of it. Safety car came in less than 3 laps ago, so we won't have any DRS this lap. It will be activated on the next time around. Samba, after getting to the front of the last lap, already has a 4-second advantage.
I think Samba wants to go on and win this one, but the danger is that he may be pushing his tyres too much, and that could hinder him maybe later on towards the end of the race, or maybe he's doing it to help close up to his team. You never know, but I think he may be pushing it too soon, but he is a competitor at heart. He wants to win this one. He wants to get maybe the fastest lap, because fastest lap points, if you combined as a team get the fastest lap, you will get the most points, same as the points as to qualifying. So I think that's what Samba is doing currently, getting a nice clean air there. But you're going to get DRS if you're near the front anyway, with the likes of Waitsy and Casper, so they could be, I think, contenders for that one as well. Speed Knighton's doing well in 5th place, but I'm not going to say too much, because every time I say good about him, especially in VSL, he spins, so...
Oh, don't worry. It's not even a... I mean, I don't believe in the commentator's curse, but you wouldn't even be able to blame yourself anymore. I think it's just
he spins anyway, even though I don't say anything good about him.
It just needs the wind to blow very, very slightly. Is Giannis here in P9, still sitting behind Ben Shaw, so he's managed to clear Kieran. So he has got up into 9th position. He's now looking in the back of the second Team Speed car. Of course, Knighton up in P5 will be the next one. So even though he's the last remaining Team ALR car left in this one, as you can see, Ben burning a little bit of battery with some DRS as well. Is actually going to clear back past Jake as Yanis almost takes the rear end, and Jake's going to do the under and over. And this is like almost like a bar fight between these two, as they're out of battery. They're desperately trying to hold on to each other, and behind they've got the man that's ready to go. He's had a shot 6 hour energy. He's going to go around the outside of both of them going into turn 1. This would be a fantastic move. He can pull this one off. He's got the grip on the tyres, but Jake's going to roll out wide. Yanis is going to try and tuck back in. That means having to go to the outside of the exit at turn 3, but I don't think he's going to have the grip, because all these guys also pitted around about the same time as each other. But the next round is on as Yanis pulls to the outside line. Jake's going to try and run him out wide. Shorty hugs the inside line. He's going to push him to the outside, but Yanis, lovely move there. He takes down 2 Jacko Car Cup Series champions in a matter of corners.
That was a nice move there from him so far, and despite him being the only team from the only driver from ALR in this grid at the moment, he's still going to get some points for them, even though it's going to be they're going to be near the back of the standings, unfortunately. But it's going to be more points than what we're seeing the likes of the Orange Arrow boys at the moment. But it's combined points that mean everything in this standings as well, and maybe they could use each other well for the next round, which will be in Qatar in the middle of March, I believe, as well. So that should be a good little race, as I think Waitsy is caught to the back of Owen Wyatt very, very quickly. They got the same amount of battery. They're producing, I think, the similar lap time as well. What they're both in the 133.9s, 133.7, same as the likes of Casper, P, F1 Kiddo as well. The top 6, apart from Nathan, who is in the 131s, they're all roughly around the same pace as each other, which is obviously really great to see. Everyone else behind's in the 134s. That strongly suggests that I think ERT is going to get the quickest drive in terms of race pace as well.
Yes, yeah, I believe so. I think that was nailed on from very early on. I mean, you look at the roster of drivers that ERT has to choose from. Of course, we've got Khalifa and Khalifa. We've got Arnold de Grief, who's potentially coming into race as well.
Khalifa's not racing, he's just captain.
Oh, I'm sure everyone will love that then. So it just means that you've got Owen White as a reserve. I mean, I'd like to see Owen on the bench as much as possible, but
I think he is commentating. I think one of the races, but not sure which one.
Make sure I miss that one then.
He could be commentating on you.
I don't know which one I'd prefer. Commentating with him or having commentating on me. Sounds awful. Lap 51 to 56. Yellow flags out. Unfortunately, I think that's for Ed Berwick once again, who's had an issue down in P16. We've got a triplet of speed drivers in 9th, 10th and 11th. We've got a triplet of Team Orange Arrows in 12th, 13th and 14th. And up in front, you've got to think, if you're Speed Knighton, he's going to be bemoaning that time penalty early on because he's managed to stick with Casper and with Waitsy. So he's going to have to take that penalty. So he's going to drop down behind at least Killer at the moment. He has used a little bit of battery. In fact, a lot of these guys are starting to suffer with battery loss here. It's really getting towards the final stages of the race. But well, Owen, Waitsy, Casper, Knighton, Killer, all within DRS of each other. Samba is just disappearing up the road now. 6.3 seconds is the advantage that he has. But well, Knighton is going to be falling down a little bit. Luckily, it looks as though Yanis Skoloventis is not able to close in, and he's equally in his own battle with the likes of Jacob Sullivan, Ben Shaw, Kieran Spears, and then behind you've got the likes of Risky taking Ryan Deck, Ben Harriott, and then of course Ollie Evans a little bit further back off that. Ed Berwick, unfortunately, for Team JOR down in 16th position, meaning JOR holding 15th and 16th. 6th and 8th, so a handful of points, but maybe not where they were hoping to be. You'd say earlier on in this one, we always said obviously ERT, definitely the ones that were looking at particularly a good result, but I think Speed are going to still hold on to second, but purely on the basis of being the middle. Oh, that's almost a big crash there from Killer. I think Pete got into the back of Casper got into the back of Waitsy, and I think Killer's got into the back of all of them. Have they got away with that one? I think reduced damage has just saved everyone's life there, but what has done it mean is that Pete is fallen out DRS. Just as I was kind of looking down through the order, I noticed that Killer had locked up all tyres and was heading very quickly towards the back of Pete Knighton's car, going into the hairpin. But ERT, unfazed, they're still battling away over the podium position to throw in Waitsy and Casper. But it's now Knighton. Now he's outside of DRS. I would expect that gap to grow, because I think this is the sort of track, especially in these stages, 53, 56, once you lose that toe, it's so easy to fall back off the back, and it's such a massive straight here that the slipstream effect just isn't as powerful if you haven't got that rear flap open on the rear wing.
I think what I thought that the Speed Boys were going to do, they were going to try and hold up the likes of Scalav and Jake O'Sullivan to make sure that Speed Knighton gets that gap, because surely they would know that Speed Knighton has that 3-second penalty. But as long as Pete has that toe, which he's not going to be at the moment, he's going to lose quite a bit of time, but he's only going to lose out on one place. So considering that he was in the midfield for most of the race, it just shows what a safety car can do. In these type of endurance races, you do not give up, because you get certain situations like this, and again you can get some decent points. Plus, with all 14 Speed members and all 4 ERT members, they're going to get, I think, an extra 10 points on top of that. I think that's the same. No, that's not the same for the oh no, JOR as well going to get those points as well if all 4 team members get to the end as well. We don't have that long to go until the end of this race, and we still got some battles going for, I think, major points paying positions. We've got obviously ERT running line astern. I think we've got most of the Team Speed running line astern as well. Ben Harriott is going to come into the pit lane. I think that's going to go for fastest lap, I reckon.
Yes, yeah, there's points available for the fastest lap, of course, so I think that's a very strategic move from Team Orange Arrow. It would surprise me if we saw maybe one of the Team JOR drivers think about it as well, but Ben Harriot's definitely got the pace to do the fastest lap. Of course, he's going to have to contend about the fact that it was Samba that set him on fresh tyres after the safety car, so
131.
Yes, it's going to have to be, I mean, Ben Harriot's going to have to be on rails to beat that lap. If he is to do so, he's going to save up all his battery and use it all.
I think Ben Harriott did a 132 in qualifying.
There is a little bit of pace, but it's going to...
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be very tough to do so. But that 54 of 56 about to start the penultimate lap. You can see the gap now. Sam's got. He's pulled out 8.2 seconds. We hope you've enjoyed this one. This has been the first race of the Vetalo Endurance Championship here. My name's Gareth Hall, joined by Jess Ball in the comment box for this one. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you do drop into the comments. Let us know. So, of course, do all the good stuff you do on YouTube. There are 30 drivers on this roster. Whether you're driving or not, that does mean I expect to have 30 subscribers on the channel by the end of this week, and we'd love to have those of you that have been watching along from other leagues. We know we've been dropping in. I've seen a couple of you, so I'd love to have 50 subscribers by the time that we have the next race, and supporting the league, supporting the channel, and of course dropping a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. It helps us out massively. Of course, head over to Vetalo Endurance, that's VETALO Endurance on X/Twitter, where you can find out more about the league. Of course, some more postal quotes about the drivers, find out a little bit more about the roster, and find out more about the calendar that's coming up over the next 11 months or 9 months or so of the year coming up. So penultimate lap here, lap 55 of 56, 100% race. These guys will be knackered by the time it's finished. I can expect the ERT guys to be as sweaty as they probably were during all the practice sessions. They've clearly been doing to be this consistent with time, as Risky picks up a time penalty that's actually going to drop him down behind Deck, so Deck's going to be delighted with that. A top 10 finish potentially coming that way if he can hold off Kieran, who's falling down the order. Looks as though Ben Harrett might have an issue because he's gone yellow on his flying lap, so maybe a little bit too eager to get that lap time done, as Jake does get past Snap 4 P7 on track, and there is Deck falling down the order behind Kieran. So Kieran does get back past him after dropping down a couple of positions, so Deck down to P12 now. Places will be affected by penalties. Risky, of course, will drop down potentially now behind Ben Shaw and Kieran. Maybe even Deck. So has Ben let Risky go to try and see if he can break a gap? Yellow flags, I believe that's for Ben Harrett. It is for Ben Harrett, who's circulating. Perhaps saving a little bit of battery here, just driving very, very slowly to save as much battery for a final lap push. But we're now on the final lap, Jess. Samba, almost a 9-second advantage now. He has been the leader in this pack and really charged to victory.
And I think he did an aggressive strategy, which worked. And he was able to pretty much command his team, not gonna lie. And at the moment, ERT are gonna get maximum points, which makes it easier for the maths. But I'm looking at the gap between the likes of Speed Knighton and Killer. His 3-second penalty is not going to matter with the likes of him and F1 Killer, of course, unless Speed Knighton goes for a spin. But, oh no, Killer's using his battery. I spoke too soon. He's going to use his battery to try and close in on Speed Knighton, as we've got pretty much a run to the flag for Nathan Samba now, Gareth.
Yep, here he comes, the first ever race winner here in Vetalo. It is ERT. Nathan Samba takes the victory here in China, and what a race it's been for him. He will bring home a quartet of teammates with him. Owen Casper, Waitsy cross the line. Waitsy missing out on the podium by less than a tenth of a second. Killer does get within the penalty window by 0.3 seconds and drops Pete down to P6. Jake holds on to P7 by 0.02 of a second ahead of Yanis Clementis. Ben Shaw, Risky, Kieran, Deck misses out on P11 by 10 seconds. So the gaps there were tiny between some of the drivers for picking up some of the lower points. Ryan Berry was going to be P14. I believe he will be reinstated because he's left the session before the end of the working process, which DNFs you, which he shouldn't do. But he did come home in P13. Ollie Evans was P14. Ben Harrett, what's he going to do? Is he trying to cruise home? Is he trying to get the fastest lap? We'll see what he comes up to the line with. Of course, he's going to beat Samba's fastest lap. Is it good enough for the fastest lap? He was saving up battery. Up to the line, it's not good enough. He comes home in 15th position. And Ed Berwick for Team JOR will be the last of the runners to cross the line and complete this first marathon of a race, of a season here. 100% races over 2024, 3 on F1 23, 3 on F1 24. Of course, the next one up is Qatar. And that, Jess, is the end of this one that was dominated by Elite Racing Team.
Yes, you could tell they've been practicing a lot for this, weren't they? It helped they had a league race on this, I think, a week or two ago as well. But I think they played the team strategy perfectly, and it's all about working together as a team. And especially with the likes of Casper, Owen, and Waitsy on the last few laps, amazing teamwork. And they've pretty much got maximum points across the board, and that's a good start to their campaign as well. The likes of Team Speed, they were working quite well towards working together as a team towards the end there as well. And obviously Pete just missing out on 5th place, I believe, but without that penalty, I think that would have helped him a little bit, but still some decent points for them as well. And Scalab as well on debut, excellent result for him as well, being the only team member still alive. But it's a long season. They've still got a long way to go. Even if some of their team is retired, they can come bouncing back, ready for the next round. They've got a month to practice for the next round, but as with a lot of us, they've got leagues to race in, so it's not plain sailing from here.
No, marker has been laid down by EIT, but as you say, plenty of racing left to come this year. So make sure you do join us throughout the rest of 2024 for that. It is Samba, the Belgian, that takes the win in first with a 31.4 is your pole time. 94 minutes and 21 seconds. Oh, that's the longest commentary I've done in a while. Owen and Casper are your podium sitters. It looks as though we've got ERT taking the overall win. Team Speed will take P2 overall, and I think it'll be JOR will take overall P3. That, of course, will all be sorted out. You can find the results over on Twitter by going to @Vetalo, or Vetalo, sorry, @Vetalo Endurance on Twitter, finding out more about it over there. But yeah, what a result for those guys, and well, what a race it's been. We will see you very, very shortly, and make sure you do join us, do subscribe, do all the good stuff you do over on the socials. Thanks, Jess. It's the first time we've ever commentated together.
No, we did VSL together, Battle of the Leagues.
Oh,
do you remember that?
There we did. Yeah, this is a proper race. That wasn't a proper race.
Yeah, yeah, our first proper league race. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sadly, I won't be able to join you for race 2 because PSG will be back. But I'll be back for race 3, whatever that was, ready for some more action. But I hope race 2 is just as good in around Qatar. But let's hope they're prepared for the tyres, because the tyres will play a massive factor, and the fuel as well. They're going to have to overfuel like mad around there. But yeah, I hope you're looking forward to that one, because I'm sure it's going to be a great one. But I should be around for race 3, so I'll see you then.
Yeah, absolutely so. So thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you do all the good stuff. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Go over to the Twitter page and follow out there. Of course, you can find out all about Vetalo by heading to the socials. But thank you very much for joining us. I've been Gareth Hall. She has been Jess Ball. We will be back in the coming months, so we will see you very shortly. Good night.